What's going on, Tamers? East here, just trying to figure out time to record videos while getting brutalized by work. But all I really want to do is play Gallantmon. BT20 cannot get here fast enough, and I mean that. We're in our 8th week of the EX08 Chain of Liberation set over here in Asia, and with the wrapping up of this week sees the close or the end of the competitive season for most players in Asia as well. We had the Asia finals wrap up outside of Japan to decide all of the other Asian countries' representatives for the World Championship later on this year in March. Meanwhile, in Japan, we have our last qualifying event. I believe it's the middle of February 15th. Someone double check on the date, but I think that's correct. But this is an invite-only event for previous winners of Japanese events for Cycle 2. This is the Japan Nationals. All that to say that most of the player base right now is just in chill mode. Though the cool thing about this kind of atmosphere is that it does give people the freedom to try out and explore more unconventional deck ideas, and I think that has yielded some pretty cool results within this past week. We'll have to take a look at some of those in the video today. And so with that, let's take a look at some event results, a couple of key takeaways, and a closer look at some of the decks that topped over the course of the past week. Diving into last week's results, you'll notice a drop-off in events as the off-season started for many players. However, some notable performances from decks we've seen since the start of this year in things like Belgramon Loop, Gallantmon, and most notably, Fenriloogamon Takemikazuchi. Those SLC tops also include the Asia Finals tournament, which saw Malaysia's Benjamin Tabor, a name I'm almost assuredly pronouncing wrong, so Ben, please forgive me, take first place with some incredible play and an incredible deck. We'll take a look at that later in the video, so stay tuned. And dropping down to the rookie level, it's been a while since we've seen Taomon Ruin Mode Loop, a deck that is equal parts scary and unconventional. As last year came to a close, I think this deck was kind of trending downwards as players did feel like it suffered some consistency issues, but it's good to see the deck's not quite down and out yet. This week also saw some really cool tops from some mad scientists cooking up ideas in the lab. Things like an Emperor Greymon focused red hybrid, as well as a Justimon deck that does not use the mother control tools. How dare they, by the way. And also for the discard lovers out there, we had a DonDevimon discard focused deck. We'll be looking at some of those lists today, but if you're a fan of these wacky and unconventional deck ideas, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more of those and more Digimon card game content shuffled directly into your YouTube feed. I know that looking at Benjamin's list, there's not any crazy tech cards or hidden surprises in this deck, but I promise you, this is one of the most solid lineups you'll see for Fenriloogamon, and Benjamin's performance during the Asia Finals is proof of that. In pretty much every game we saw Benjamin on screen, he was able to win in a single turn by setting up not one, but two Fenriloogamon Takemikazuchi. And the crux of this strategy lies in the use of the level 5 Solugamon in a way that I've seen no other player ever take advantage of. So the way this combo works is that you typically evolve into your level 5 Solugamon, who lets you discard 2 cards, and then you can destroy an opponent's Digimon on board. If you don't though, it lets you play down a level 4 from your trash onto the board to start a second stack. From there, typically one of the 2 cards you discarded from your first Solugamon here is going to be a Fenriloogamon. You're going to evolve into that thanks to the Balmon's effect and inheritance. That's going to let you play a Kazuchimon, and then you go into your first Fenriloogamon Takemikazuchi. Once he does this thing, you've got your alliance target for the swings. You can utilize that second stack when you want to end your turn by evolving into another Solugamon. When you evolve into this guy, you'll simply pass your turn over, and then because he can't destroy anything either off of his effect, he's also going to play a 3rd stack on the board. From there, your turn will typically end. You can unmind link your tamer from the first Fenriloogamon Takemikazuchi, the AG there, and then your Lugamon effect and inheritance is going to give you +1 memory to keep your turn. You can then remind link the AG Tamer to the second Solugamon on the board, and then from there you can evolve your level 4 into a Hellugamon. When you evolve into the Hellugamon, something really special happens here. Your turn passes over, your turn would end, so the Hellugamon destroys himself. And then when he destroys himself, the level 5 Solugamon's all turns effect that most players don't utilize comes into play. When the Hellugamon's destroyed, he sees the SOC Digimon being deleted, and then he can evolve into another Fenriloogamon in the trash. Even though he doesn't have a Balmon inheritance, the level 5 Solugamon's effect lets you evolve into a level 6 in trash, and that kicks off the chain reaction to go into your second Takemikazuchi. You evolve into the Fenriloogamon, that lets you play down another Kazuchimon from the trash, and then you can go into a second Takemikazuchi. And when you do this, and even though your turn would end, because you go into the Takemikazuchi, the memory counter essentially snaps back to 2, so you get to keep your turn. And from here, the second Takemikazuchi can attack because it was DNA Digivolved into, and that's a rule in the game, and it can also pop another security off the top because of its own effect. And so with expert piloting and matchup knowledge, Ben was able to handily win the Asia Finals, using what I just explained as what I'm now going to be dubbing the Ben combo. Honestly, pretty incredible matches overall. Just watching them was a real treat, and we definitely took a look at those a little while ago. A stream, the videos will be coming on the channel very soon, so stay tuned. You know, the Terriermon cards really do have it all. They're cute, great card pool, They can skip levels, awesome ace cards. Their only mistake was being released alongside Magnamon armor. I've always felt that Rapidmon armor was a great deck, but the one thing that's really held it back is its inability to deal with big DP Digimon, especially something like a Magnamon armor who isn't affected by opponents' effects. It really left the deck with little counterplay as far as getting over something with the Rapidmon X. But now with the addition of Medieval Gallantmon, those issues might be a thing of the past. The deck was already really memory efficient with cards like the starter deck Terriermon, the double Typhoon option card, as well as the ever popular Hidden Potential Discovered. But this list opts to add in a couple copies of the starter deck 2 Izzy Tamers as a way to gain a memory refund whenever you rest your opponent's Digimon. The deck also has some great defense in the use of the Floodgate Terriermons at level 3, the armors on the level 4s and the level 6 Rapidmon X, the protection effect on the Rapidmon who's level 5, as well as some great ace counterplay in the Cherubimon and Mega Gargomon Ace. I really love the 1-2 punch of getting down the Rapidmon X antibody, and then the following turn, going into a Medieval Gallantmon, who can then suspend 2 Digimon. They get minus 4k because of the Rapidmon's effect, and then you can hit an 8k or lower with the Medieval Gallantmon. The Rapidmon will then give you +2 memory, essentially giving you a 5 cost level 6. And that's even less if you have one or more of the Izzy Tamers down on the board as well. So if you're a fan of one of Digimon's most beloved mascots but have had some trouble using the deck in the past, well, Momentai. Medieval Gallantmon is here to save the day. Each week, I allow my champion level and higher YouTube members to vote on decks they want to see featured in these meta report videos. And this week they voted to see DonDevimon Discard. If you'd like to vote on the kinds of decks that you want to see covered in these kinds of videos, as well as some other cool perks and bonuses like early access to my content, consider becoming a YouTube member as well. And with that, let's take a look at DonDevimon Discard. So while this was the original list that won, I think the picture itself is kind of busy, so we're going to clean this one up for the folks at home. Honestly, after cleaning it up, it's still a little bit busy. Tons of cards in this deck. Where do I begin? Well, most decks want to deplete your security, but this one opts to go for your most precious resource, the cards in your hand. With discard effects from things like the Shakomon, the Gesomon, NeoDevimon, DonDevimon, and Barbamon, just to name a few, there's lots of ways this deck can toss cards out of your opponent's hand. What I really like about this list is that it takes advantage of a seldom used promo card in the level 3 DonDevimon, who can, when deleted in Inheritance, if you have 7 cards with Devimon in their name in the trash, you can play a DonDevimon from the trash for free. And despite being released all the way back in BT4, this DonDevimon is probably one of the best discard cards in the game, forcing your opponent to discard not 1, but 2 cards from hand whenever he's deleted. Not only that, but he also goes band for band on security. On your opponent's turn, whenever they force you to get rid of one of your security, they have to trash one of theirs as well. And because this deck uses so many of the purple water-based Digimon, it feels only thematically correct to just throw in a couple copies of Leviamon alongside the Biting Crush as well. And if you're really hard up for removal at any point, I mean, this deck just slaps in 2 copies of the Medieval Gallantmon, because at this point, why not? Also, I forgot to mention it, but the one-of the Octomon here is so diabolical, where I think a lot of folks right now are getting their hands on the scramble cards over in the West, so they're really excited to use those. The Octomon letting you put down a Fujitsumon token on your opponent's side of the board, who's essentially just a brick, means that they cannot use the Scrambles effect to play Digimon from the trash, ever. Remember getting hit with that in one of my games? It's like, man, that's some bullshit. And this list also has one of my bald and beautiful brothers in the Barbamon as a way to take advantage of all those discards you have in the game, by letting you play down more Digimon as a result. And so if you also harken back to the days of Donzalug and Forceful Sentry, then this deck might be the one for you. Shoutouts to all my soldiers out there who caught that reference going through Yada hell back in the day. Whew, those are rough times. And with that, I think we can wrap this one up. Week 8 of the EX08 meta report comes to a close, and like I mentioned at the start of the video, as the competitive season ended for most of the players, what are you folks at home playing with? And also, what are you excited for in BT20? That is going to be a fire set. Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, folks, I'm going to get out of here. Before you get out of here, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.